Welcome back, YouTube. Today, we're gonna check out a nice sweep from close guard. With me is my buddy and one of my students, Tom. He's gonna help me out. We're gonna show you a sweep from the close guard and also some entries from standing, different positions if we get to it. It's going to be called the 100% sweep. If you know what a 100% sweep is, please stay tuned because we're also gonna show you the counter to the 100% sweep. And if we get to it, even the counter to the 100% sweep. Let's just get to it. Hope you enjoy. Hoes. Okay, so we're gonna start off in close guard. I have Tom caught on my close guard. Now the first thing is, I need to have his posture broken down. Could be from a failed takedown attempt. For example, Tom takes me down and we end up like this. It could be that I go up, for example, to go to a hip bump sweep, for example. I get up, I go cross, and Tom brings me back down. Boom. Could be I'm playing red guard. Could be I have a failed guillotine. Or it could just be that Tom has his face all the way up on my body and he's working without posture. So, nonetheless, I want to have his posture down all the way. We're going to take the example of a failed guillotine, for example, to start off with the sweep. Now, what I want to do, usually this hand goes all the way around to work towards the guillotine or an arming guillotine. But what I want to do today is I want to reach this hand inside and go underneath his armpit. I keep his head stuck with the back side of my armpit, pushing it down, and this hand reaches out behind his armpit. I'm going to close the gable grip. Now, usually where people tend to mess up is they're going to get the gable grip with the palm facing towards them. The palm facing away and this palm facing towards me. Now I could pull here, as with any sweep, I want to pull Tom on top of me before I sweep him to the side. But what I'd rather do is I get my thumb and bring that one like I'm hitchhiking, like this motion. That's where I get a lot of strength to pull him forward with this kind of underhook that it is behind his armpit. So my thumb is up, yeah, right behind his armpit. I close my gable grip, no thumbs, and I bring this all the way towards me as I stretch him on top of me and put some pressure on the backside of his head and his neck. Now that's what initiates the sweep. As soon as I pull him right on top of me, I'm going to be my hip out a little bit and I'm going to sweep him to my left side. So I get my gable grip, I pull Tom on top of me and roll him over to the side. Yeah? Let's go a bit back. So, could also be that, for example, Tom has his head down, his posture is completely down, and I'm first going to push his head off. I'm going to push his head away. If he reacts, he starts working his head back on. I go over and I use the space that he creates. Okay? If he doesn't react, he keeps his head low. He doesn't react, he keeps his head going away. I'm going to work this angle, obviously. You go for a shoulder pin or whatever. In this case, he's pushing back. I reach over, I go underneath. Could also be from a hip bump attempt. Yeah, I get up, catch the arm, he pushes me back down. I reach over, come underneath. So as soon as I get to the position, whether from a takedown or from this position as we've shown, I'm going to get my thumb reaching towards me. Yeah, one more time, then we're going to take a look at the legs. So I reach, I close my gable grip, and I bring my thumb towards my face. So I'm not just going to lift him over to the side here, I'm not going to sweep him to my left. It's going to be pretty hard. I first have to pull him all the way on top of me. As soon as I get him there, this leg stretches, this one sets off, and I roll him over to the side. Yeah, we're gonna check out how we follow up in a second, but for now, we'll just keep him here, put pressure on the backside of his neck, and manage to get our sweep, and we get on top. Okay, let's check it out from the side angle once, before we get into the legs. So, same thing. I got his posture down, boom, come over, reach underneath, bring the thumb, reach in. Now you can see what this leg is doing. If, for example, I'm not getting Tom all the way to the side, I'm bringing up here, and I get my hook in. So this hook is going to go inside his leg as I sweep him over. So once we manage to get the sweep, yeah, it then becomes very important how we follow up with the position. There's a few things you can do. The first one, being the easiest one, is going up for full mount, for example. So we're going to be a bit here. Sweep you to the right. So we get the position on the hook, whether I just roll him over, stretch him out, or whether I get this hook in, yeah, if you leave some space or if he bases out. Doesn't matter. I pull him on top of me. Yeah? So I pull him all the way on top of me, get him over, I could use my hook, and then immediately follow up. Once I get the full mount, I could crank here on his neck and bring a lot of pressure on the backside of his neck, or just get my position, score my points, and get my full mount. I'm gonna check some options. As soon as I sweep him, I could also try and maintain the grip and work towards his back. or work towards a crucifix position, for example. So, same position, get my grips in, pull him on top of me, flip him over, yeah? And in this case, I could try to go on my knees here and work towards his back, this position. Control, get my seatbelt grip, boom, and work to get the position here. Now, this is pretty hard to do, so I'm gonna show you a variation. Before we do so, we're gonna check out the counter to the basic sweep. Okay, so now for the counter to the basic 100% sweep, Tom is going to sweep me. I'm going to show you how we can do a basic counter from there, even ending up with a submission. So, now this time Tom is going to sweep me with 100% sweep. He goes over. As I land, I post my feet on the mat, I control his leg and his elbow, and I drive back into him. So I don't want to go all the way over him. I just want to drive back into him. I can have my feet wide or close, or whatever you prefer. I like to keep them pretty wide. Push up from my toes. I keep control of this elbow slash tricep and pull it down. Watch my elbow, I pull it down. Now, a detail I worked on lately is I'm going to switch my grips first. Because if I just retract this arm, I'm going to show you in a second, I might lose control over the arm. And I just end up on top, which is not bad, but it's not what I want. I want to control this tricep, pull it down. I'm going to switch my grips and push down with a C grip, right behind you. As I push this one down, I can retract this arm, go inside, and I catch underneath his head. Watch my head putting pressure. I keep pressure on top of him as I switch and bring my chest on top of his elbow, and I enter for darts. Yeah? So, pressure with the head, pressure on top of the triceps and the elbow, yeah? Switching my grips, turning, going under, back elbow, sprawl out, and go for the darts. Let's check that one out one more time, now from a different angle. So, once again, Tom goes for the 100% sweep. I'm going to counter, switch my grips, push back into him, switch my grips, put my ear on top of him, my chest, and enter for the darts choke. Control, push back, switch, bring my elbow in, push my ear on top of him, and now I bring my chest on where my right hand is at the moment. Back elbow. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to counter the counter we just saw. It's going to get a little bit complicated, but it does open up new possibilities for us. Good control. It prevents him from countering our 100% sweep, and we're going to show you some more follow-up situations instead of just going for a neck crank or full mount. So I'm going to sweep Tom once again, and he's going to try to get the counter. So we work towards 100% sweep. Now to prevent Tom from getting his arm out, that's actually the thing he wants to do to go for the darts, right? I switch my grips. So instead of the gable grip, I'm now reaching under, get control of my biceps, and go for a figure 4 grip. Now it might look like a weak grip to pull him over, but my hand that pushes down on his arm now, on his biceps, that's what prevents him from retracting his arm later on. Let's just check it out. So I go for my figure 4 grip, yeah? I pull him on top of me, base, switch. Now Tom is posting back into me, but my left hand is what controls his arm. So if he tries to switch his arms now, and turn, try and turn, 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 turn. Even if he manages to turn his hips, his feet, turn, 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 I just bring my hook over and get my control here. Yeah? Usually I switch to not a wrist control, but pinky control, and go under and start working from there. But the fact that I'm controlling his arm, that's what prevents him from retracting his elbow and switching back on top. Let's check it out one more time from this angle. So we go for the sweep. This time I get my figure 4 grip. Yeah? So my hand goes all the way over, controls his arm right on the crook of his elbow. Yeah? I pull him on top of me, switch him over. Boom. Now as he tries to work and switch his arms, that's where I keep my control. Usually trying to get this hook in, or I just AB out a little bit, get this knee underneath, and roll him back on top of me. Like so. One more time, bit to that side. Over, gable, yeah, now switching over to figure 4. Throw him over, now just keep pushing down with his hand. So he tries to switch his arms, he tries to switch his legs to get on top, get on top, get on top, get on top. I just pull him back over. Now Tom has like 30 kilos on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how many pounds it is. Like 5 bags of potatoes and 2 cows, a lot. And still, as long as I keep that control, guys, it's pretty easy for me to work him back. So the counter is a pretty good option when your opponent goes for the gable grip. Now the figure 4 is a nice one for you to prevent them from countering that way. We're gonna check out one more thing. We're now going to check out how to use my control for the sweep, following up on top, and entering into the truck or the crucifix. Gonna go over, in, get my figure 4 grip, controlling his arm to prevent him from countering, pull him on top of me, and throw him over. Now, I need to keep this leg inside from the half guard, and now the hardest part for me is to get on top, to get back on my elbow and my knee. If I just try to get back up here, it's pretty hard, especially if Tom uses his head to push back a little bit. He weaves his left arm through, going for the count, that's pretty hard. So what I do, I put my forehead on the floor, yeah, and I come on my knee and elbow like so, keeping my leg in, yeah. Now I want to pull Tom all the way on top of me. So I'm on my elbow and my knee, I pull him on top of me, I let go of his arm, yeah, and I end up here, okay? I could first triangle my legs and then slide down to the lockdown. So triangle, slide down. That's what happens with the legs. I could also pull this leg in and go over, for example, yeah? In this case, I want to keep the lockdown and I get my quick control here. We could go back to the upper body, if you would stretch his leg, please, so you can see what's happening, and go towards the baseball control with his arm. Now Tom is a pretty big guy, but I can reach his head, close my gable grip, extend, pull, and work towards twister. But I like to work with the legs, controlling here, controlling here. I can reach through, so I keep control of this foot, yeah, and reach through all the way, going over, controlling here, extending and stretching. Or my favorite go-to is letting go of this leg entirely, pull his foot towards me with my hook, and grab his toes. 1, 2. The easiest way to finish here, guys, is just with a basic calf slicer, extending my leg, pulling down. This is more than enough pressure to get the submission. But I like to be kind of vicious and put my foot on top of my other foot as I push with both feet, extending this leg and pushing really hard with my hamstrings here. Pushing, grabbing, pulling, and bringing my body up as I extend, yeah? And we go for the finish. That's it. So, guys, there you have it. Turned out to be a pretty long video. We covered the basic 100% sweep from guard. We've shown some options from close guard, like a failed kimura, failed hip bump sweep, a failed guillotine. We could do it from a takedown, we could push his head off, a basic 100% sweep. Then we looked into the counter for the 100% sweep, controlling his arms, pushing back, bridging in, switching, and even ending up with a Darce choke. Now we went to countering his counter, using the figure 4 hold to control his arm and prevent him from switching his arms, and even leading up not only in back control or full mount, but getting into truck position with some submissions from there. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Maybe we're gonna do one more video where we show some stand-up options with the 100% sweep, because it's not only viable from close guard, you could do it from half guard, you could do it from different positions, you could do it from standing, from fighting on the cage or the wall, you could do it from a failed double leg attempt. Tons of options from there. Have fun, experiment with those. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Boys.